Welcome back to Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. This one is entitled Leaving Tiny Middle. Now, this is not by any means the last Old War story I have. It's just whatever comes to my mind, I just put on a list and I just pick and choose, and this one just kind of randomly came up. Sounded like a good idea to tell the story, so I'm telling the story. Simple as that. So, this was in 2015, I believe, when I left Tiny Middle for good. If anybody's been following me for years, you would remember that I became ill and was admitted to the hospital and had to have emergency gallbladder removal surgery. Well, that was a whole fun thing, and I have a whole slew of videos you can go through of my telling the story of that, if you are interested in that. Anyways, long and short of the story was, I was totally fed up with the place, and I knew I had to get out of there, and I was just finding the right time to do so, and the right time was about a year before this happened. Not that that would have saved my gallbladder at all, but what are you going to do? Anyways, that was pretty much, I'm fairly convinced that because I kind of waited that extra year to get out of there, my gallbladder was, if you believe in this stuff, a sign from God saying, you have to get out of here. And that was a way that I could get out of there. You know, it's not just like a broken leg or something like that where you'll heal up in 6-8 weeks or something and you can walk again. It's not anything like that. The gallbladder thing, you're going in the hospital and this is you got to have surgery and the whole thing, and then there's quite a bit of recovery where you can't really get around. Because I had a lot of abdominal pain after that, and it takes weeks, and it's sort of like a cold where you feel it coming on, and then there's that one day where you just totally feel like a pile of shit. And then you kind of get over that hump and you start feeling a little better every day for a few days, and now you're like, okay, good, the sniffles are going away. I still, I'm stuffed up here and there, but whatever. And then you get to like 95%, and then it takes like 2 more weeks for you to shake that last 5% and be back in perfect health. Well, the gallbladder is another story entirely, because you get to that 95% mark after like 2 weeks, but then it's like months until you get that 5% back. So that's pretty much how it went. So anyways, we worked some magic numbers and with the doctor, and he said that I could return to work at on a particular date. And I was getting so fed up with the place that just prior to that, I had taken a leave of absence for, I think in New York State they give you 3 months or something. I think it was 3 months. So that would be 12 weeks, and I took 11 weeks already. Then I came back, I worked for 4 days, and then my gallbladder took a shit, and I went into the hospital. So then I was out for 2 more weeks, and that would be like an illness or something like that. So technically, I was still employed at the time, but when I went to see the doctor like a week or 2 after, who actually did the surgery, he said, okay, you could go back to work on Monday, which was just 1 day over that 12 weeks. That was my ticket out, and I signed the papers saying I resign before I can't work here anymore, which allegedly means that I would be eligible for rehire, but I was never going back. All right. Well, anyways, that day came, and I had to come in and pick up all of my stuff, pack everything up, and get out of there. I have to change the battery on the camera. I'll be right back. Thank you for bearing with me for 1 second through the magic of video editing so I could change the battery on the camera and spend another 15 seconds telling you about it. Okay, anyway, so here was the day. I came in, I signed the papers that I resign because I need to, and I'm leaving, and I'm eligible for rehire in the future, and like I said, I'm never coming back. So I had to pack up all my stuff and get out of there. So I went back in the shop where I was working, and there's my toolbox, still locked up. All my tools are in there. Everything's good. But in the interim, for years, for like at least the last 2 years that I was there, if not even 3, we were shorthanded by 3 or 4 people in the shop. So the workload was absolutely incredible. And I was holding down the shop. I was the guy who did all the work there. Apparently I never learned my lesson, even though I know the lesson, which is the only reward for hard work is more hard work. Anyways, I come back in and there's all the same guys that were there, but surprisingly, because I would always, over those last 2-3 years that we were shorthanded, I'd come to the boss every couple of months. So were there any people applying? Did you hire people? Oh yeah, I had 3 interviews last week and I got 3 more, coming up later this week. And we're trying to find the right guy. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're trying to find another Jay. They settled for this guy, kind of fat, didn't know his ass from his elbow. And during the time between, I'm trying to remember exactly how it went. Oh yeah, because I was going to be out for a few months with that leave of absence, they immediately hired the next guy that they could get, which was this kind of fat, dumpy guy who didn't know his ass from his elbow. So he was there, and then I came back like a month later with my ticket out of there, and there was the same guy, and he had the same computer on the bench. It came back because he didn't fix it right the first time. And that was fun. But anyway, all the rest of the guys were there. Jay, how you doing? Oh man, I heard you were in the hospital, this and that, your gallbladder, and yeah. So I told him the story, top to bottom, the abridged version and that. And I came back and like I said, I was gathering up my stuff. So there's my toolbox. Something I missed out on, unfortunately, was I had for a time a Model M keyboard that I had brought in from home. The way the bench was set up with these shelves there, somehow I had routed the cable through these shelves. So it's kind of like sandwiched between them. Wasn't tight on the wire or anything. It was there. It was loose, but there was a special angle you had to get the PS2 plug through. So when I left and they hired this dumpy guy, the boss said, well, I don't like his bench set up anymore, so we're going to change all that. And before he did that, he said, here, clean everything off, clean everything out of here. And they cut the cable for the Model M. Now, I had already taken the Model M back home. Foolishly, I had left the cable there. And I did that because it was a pain in the ass to get that cable out. And I figured, I wouldn't get killed in the meantime or anything like that. And I would actually end up resigning. And then I would have to fish out the cable, and that would have been the time. But nope, they just cut the fucking thing in 2 pieces, pulled it out of there, and threw it out. I'll never get that back. So that was a mistake, but you live and learn. It's not like I don't have any other Model M's around, but anyway, I gather up my stuff, so now I have a shopping cart. I've officially been promoted to customer. That's right. And that was actually a running joke at Tiny Middle. Yeah, that was a running joke, being promoted to customer. So, anyways, I had some last minute purchases to make because being that I worked there, we got an employee discount. What it was, I think it was their cost plus 10% or something, and we never did the math to find out what it was. It's just you'd look it up in the system, it would give you employee price, and that was it. If you liked the price, you buy it. You didn't be concerned about the 10% or whatever it was, and that was that. So I walked around the entire store and looked at all the little doodads and all the stuff, and I was out of the sales area for years because I was in the shop, so I didn't get a chance to mill around and see what's out there. And there wasn't much. But I said, while I'm there, I said, it's finally time, being that I'll get a discount, to get a color laser all-in-one, which I bought. And I did get a discount on that. And I still have it to this day. It's 5 years later or so now, and it's still working great. It needs toner, but yeah, I still have it, and it works perfectly fine. And I found a pair of helping hands for like soldering and that I actually got for XJO81X because he wanted a set. And let's say I ended up with a total of 15 items altogether. Okay, well, now I have to get online and wait to pay. Promoted to customer, part of the occupation. So I get online, and they had changed the line. It used to be that you had 6 registers, and each register had its own line. This was well before Calderona, where a lot of stores now are having everybody in one line, 6 foot apart, and et cetera, and then it's kind of a feeder line for the rest. Well, they had this feeder line 5 years ago, and it made the line a mile long. For some reason, they actually did business there. I don't know why. But the line was long. And I'm standing on line. And I'm still in pain from my gallbladder being taken out, and the whiff was with me. And this, that, and the third. Because I couldn't, actually at the time, I couldn't even drive yet. But I had to go back there and get my stuff and get out of there. So anyways, I'm waiting online, and it's taking forever. It is taking forever for this line to move. And there were 4 cashiers. And people are buying 2 or 3 items. It's not like when you get online at the grocery store and there's the Millennium Mom, which could be a war story in and of itself, which happened to me last week at Aldi. Millennium Mom there with her little brat in the cart, and her cart is filled to the top. And stuff under the cart. And she's filling up the belt and filling up the belt and filling up the belt. She's got a million items, and it takes a while for that transaction to be rung up. And then she pays with EBT. Well, again, that's another story for another time. But this line was long, and it was taking fucking forever. I had, for the most part, stopped buying stuff there because I said, I don't need to be giving them back the money they're paying me. Fuck them. So anyway, this was the last time. And, being that I was going to get a discount on stuff, I had to buy it there. Okay. So I'm standing online and finally get to the register, and the cashier's name was Charu. Charu. Charu had started there maybe 3 years after I did, which was back in, 2002 sometime, I think is when I started there. So I knew Charu for years. She was one of the last one of the last men standing, last women standing, whatever you want to be politically correct about. And she was still there, and that was that. So now I come up to the register. Hi, Sharu, how you doing? Oh, good. Okay, yeah, this is my last day here, and just buying my last stuff. Employee discounts. So she had to punch something in the register, and it automatically calculated the prices. And now the register is ready for her to start scanning items. So here's how it worked at Tiny Middle. And this is going to strike a chord with another old war story I've told in the past called GLOW, G-L-O. So if you remember that one, you'll get the idea with this one and where it's going. Register is ready to go. We had little hand scanners where you pull the trigger and beep. So she says, okay, let me start with the printer, that big box. And so okay. So she goes and she reaches over the counter. It's not scanning. Why? Because the cashiers we needed to put brighter bulbs in the front of the store. Okay? Get my drift? Yeah, there were a lot of them, so we needed to put brighter light bulbs in the front of the store. And I'm not talking about the ones here or the ones that light up here. I'm talking about the ones in the ceiling. Thank you very much. Anyhow, these scanners were dropped a lot. So after we get through 7, 8, 9 times of trying to scan the barcode on the box, finally, beep. And what does it scan? 6 digits and a couple of other control codes. So we're talking about a total of, at the most, 16 bytes of data. 16 bytes of data, just to put this in perspective in case you don't know what that is, go to your keyboard and type 16 characters. Doesn't matter what they are. Each one is a byte. 16 bytes. How long does it take you to type 16 characters? What is that? 4 words? 3 words? With the spaces in between? Maybe even 2 if you have an extended vocabulary. We're talking a minuscule amount of data. Beep. SKU number comes in there, and then the system has to speak to the server and ask the server gods, what is 269873? And we wait. The server gets up. Oh man, that was a good sleep. Stretches, gets up, looks at the clock. Oh fuck, it's 8:30 already? Shit, 269803. Oh, that's an HP color laser printer, all in one. And the price is, I remember what it was, $269, something, doesn't matter. Gets that in there. And then it says, oh, wait a minute, that's a big ticket item. We need the serial number. So a box would pop up, and it's ready to scan the serial number now. Well, from here it went a little faster and then really slow. Now it wants the serial number. So Sharu reaches over the counter and tries scanning the barcode for the serial number, which was on the box. So 9 tries later, beep, 16 bytes go in, and there's the serial number, and then it immediately advances to the price field. Now you can change quantities if you needed to, but that, I was only buying one, so you didn't need to do that. And the reason it would go to the price field is because it comes up, we're going to say $269.99, right? So it comes up $269.99, and it leaves the cursor there. Now you can key in any price you want. You can make it say $369 if you want. You can make it say $169 if you want. But if you change it, it's going to need a reason. In this case, the system was already set for employee price, so it came up with whatever it was, that was the price, that's what I'm paying, there's no other discounts or anything else, so you simply press enter. And then, very simply, it should go to the next line, ready for you to scan your next item. And we wait. And I'm looking at the screen, and it's sitting there. And then the cursor shows up on the next line, ready for you to scan the second item. I had 15 items. This was close to a 15-minute transaction. The registers there ran under some sort of Linux operating system and was text-based. No fancy graphics, no special stuff, none of this. You go to the grocery store and they have their logo with the harvest basket, what is that, the cornucopia, and the whole thing, and all these flashy things, and you saved $500 this year by shopping with us because we stole your information, and blah, 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 blah. Nope, we didn't have any of that. It was just text-based, and it was a simple database lookup where it had to find 869303, whatever number I made up, to find that it was an HP color laser printer and the price. Scan the serial number, please. And that was it. And it took 15 minutes. Why? Because, like Glow, where they had a Pentium 4 computer that the guy would be sitting there on Facebook and AOL and on YouTube and something else and something else, and then he was running some software that would talk to the POS that was at the bar, which was the lifeblood of their business at this nightclub, because when you go to a nightclub, you go there to drink and maybe pick up chicks, and that, but you go there to drink, and that's how they make their money. The very lifeblood of their business they were putting in jeopardy. Well, here's Tiny Middle, and they were doing the same. Politicians line their pockets with your tax dollars. This is a known fact. Doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on, and we don't get into politics on this channel. Every politician is corrupt in his or her own way. If they don't take money from here, they'll take it from over here. Or they'll be a pickpocket and take it from the back. All depends, doesn't matter. Every single one of them is corrupt. And they're all out to take your money and mine. Tiny Middle, customer after customer after customer after customer would buy and buy and buy. And as people buy things, there's retail markup. That means profit. That means dollar signs. That means, holy shit, the bigwigs at the company are getting big bonuses and extra vacation and all this great stuff going on. And the peons, that's P-E-O-N, which also means the people they pee on, which was me. That's why they call it that. The peons don't get a raise. Nope. Making more money, making more money, making more money, making more money. And because they're all corrupt motherfuckers up there, being the bigwigs, they pocket the money. Where should that money go? Invest it in the infrastructure. You go to the grocery store, you buy a half gallon of milk. Beep! Milk, half gallon, $1.69. Or whatever the price in your part of the country is. Beep, done, scan the next item. Cottage cheese, 16 ounces. Beep, done. Yeah, they have their shit together. The most ironic part of this is that grocery stores have something like a 3% margin that they run on. They have razor fucking thin margins. Tiny Middle they would sell a USB cable for $20. If I bought it, $3.99. The markup on some of this shit, I mean, how would it be like if somebody just handed you $10 and walked away? You just made $10 for doing nothing. Maybe just being in the right place at the right time. And $10 they made here, $10 they made here, $100 they made there, and the profits just keep coming in. Now, yeah, it's a big store. There's a lot of overhead. There's a lot of lights. We got all kinds of computers running, this, that, and the third. I understand that, and there's big bills to run all that stuff. That's fine, but it's a cost of doing business. And yes, some of this profit margin goes to pay for that. But there was money coming in hand over fist that they were not investing back in the company in the form of infrastructure, employee health and wellness. Forget the benefits. I didn't even pay for benefits there because they were that terrible and cost too much. I was covered under the whiffs thing from her job. So that was the story with that. They don't invest a dime back into the company, into the employees, give people a day off, make them happy so they want to come back to work and do a good job so they can get the most productivity out of these people that they have to pay a salary, part of the cost of doing business, that they have to pay a salary to get the best value for your money. But nope, they would never put a dime back into the store, back into the employees, back into the infrastructure. They would line their pockets. Dime after dime after dime after dime. And that's why a 15-item transaction took about 15 minutes at Tiny Middle. Epilogue to the story, very quick. When I was in the shop, when a computer came in, it had to be looked at and diagnosed, and the customer called the same day they dropped it off. Didn't matter that I had 25 other machines I was working on at the same time, taking laptops apart with 3,000 fucking screws and magnifying glasses to see where shit goes, because I was getting old and rickety even then. Nope, didn't matter. Didn't matter. Here's more. Here's more. Here's more. But I'll never get anything to here's more. The only reward for hard work is more hard work. And as such, the machines would come in, but that was policy. You didn't do that, you got written up and then fired. It was that simple. So you just had to do it. And that means that machines would sit around longer, and then you'd get yelled at for that. But that's because they kept fucking giving you more and not telling people, we'll call you in a couple of days. Remember how I said I was holding down the shop? Yeah. I still had contact with a couple of people that still worked there. And I said, what's the wait time at the shop? They said 7 to 10 days. I had to get these things looked at, and it wasn't just me. I mean, it was everybody in the shop, but I had to get this done the same day and call these people the same day, and we were shorthanded, and now, because I left, you are telling these same customers that are bringing their computers in to be fixed that it's going to be 7 to 10 days before they get a phone call telling them what's wrong with their machine and how much it would cost to fix, and that's just acceptable? Well, fuck me. They lost a very valuable employee, didn't they? and they hired that fat dumpy fuck, and they ended up drowning in their own piss, which is exactly what I always said would happen. Now, where they are now, none of these people work there anymore. Turnover's high, and I don't know. I've never set foot back in there. I haven't kept in contact with anybody. I don't have any more contacts there, really. And the last I heard, there were like 2 people that were there when I was there. The entire rest of the staff had turned over, including the general manager. So, there it was. I had to leave because they practically killed me, and I left them drowning in their own piss. Customers get pissed off that their computers aren't being fixed in a more timely fashion. The register being slow, so they're limiting their income and only pissing off more customers as they leave. They're like, God, it takes fucking forever to get out of there. Fuck it, I'll go to the store down the block and I'll just buy it there where I could be in and out. Because they're quick there. They had brighter light bulbs in the front of the store. Or rather, they had dimmer light bulbs and brighter people. Anyway, yeah. This you will find in companies throughout at least the United States, if not the world, where they don't invest a dime back. And I'm sure a lot of people who watch this are going to say, yeah, my job, we didn't get a dime either. We didn't get a dime either. We didn't get a dime either. Yep, it runs rampant. This started, by the way, somewhere around the year 2000, maybe 98, 2002, somewhere in there. They came out with this mantra that kind of went around in business: do more with less. Oh, okay. So what they did is they fired people, especially after the dot-com bubble burst, which I think was around 2000, and they cracked the whip on the people that were still there. No, you're not getting a raise, and now you're doing this, and you're doing this, and you're doing this, and you're doing this. And you didn't leave if you were one of those people getting whipped, because if you left, you wouldn't have a job. Basically, they had you over a barrel. So I fucked them back, and they drowned in their own piss. Good for me. I got even in such a way. I know this was long-winded. I thank you very kindly if you kept with this the whole time, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Old War Stories with Uncle Jay. There's going to be long and short ones of these, as you well know if you've been following this series. And again, I thank you so much for watching. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.